Here we go again.
No, not again.
You've been fooled.
How long have we been doing this?
Once more unto
And again, until we're both dead.
Hello and welcome to You've Seen It Before, movie reviews with connections in mind. Tomb Raider is the latest film adaptation of the video game franchise. Most notably, this film is based off of the 2013 reboot video game, and it stars Alicia Vikander as Lara Croft, aka the Tomb Raider. And in this film, we see Lara Croft struggling with the disappearance of her father, who had gone searching for the lost island of Yamatai, which supposedly holds the soul of a Japanese empress, who is essentially called the god of death. And Laura is given clues in order to so that she can go to this island and find out where her father is, but also prevent this goddess of death from falling into unsavory hands. Now, this video review will contain spoilers of Tomb Raider as well as certain other films and TV series. There will be a full list in the description below. And if you've not seen Tomb Raider yet, or any of the films listed below, and want to wait until you have, stop the video at this point and come back later. With these things in mind, though, let's begin. So there's one big parallel that can be drawn between Lara Croft and another film. I'm going to save that till the very end. But first, let's go over a couple of other things. First off, I would say Tomb Raider holds an interesting parallel with Lost, in that both of these films center around at a lost island that no one else can find, and someone goes to this island that has a mysterious evil that cannot be released, else the world will end. Both these films and Lost feature this, as well as Lost and Tomb Raider feature, at some point during the course of the movie or the TV series, a cave on the coast, on the edge of a sheer cliff, filled with a lot of writing regarding the evil that is contained within that island. So there's an interesting parallel there. Next, I would say there's an interesting comparison to be drawn here between Tomb Raider and the Mission Impossible franchise. At the end of Tomb Raider, it is revealed that the villain that we've been interacting with for the most of the movie has a backer who he's been communicating with, but we don't see until the very end. And it's revealed that this hidden backer is the true villain and is someone close to our hero, namely Lara Croft's guardian, and well placed in the Croft business. Now, this is also Mission Impossible is not unique in the film franchises to have a hidden villain who's close to the hero, but considering that both these are action franchises, and it seems to be a very common trope within the Mission Impossible franchise, I would say this is a valid comparison. One of the main hallmarks of Tomb Raider is that the Lara Croft is a treasure hunter who goes to these places, and the treasures that she has to find are more often than not hidden behind puzzles and traps that she has to avoid. This is true in the video games, and it is true in this film as well. I would say this is very similar, in fact, to National Treasure, in that both these films' heroes also are great at figuring out puzzles of a sort, and they're searching through these treasures that have to navigate traps as well, ancient places. This comparison between Tomb Raider and National Treasure leads me into the main big comparison that can be drawn between Tomb Raider and another film. Namely, both Lara Croft and Benjamin Gates, the hero of National Treasure, are both characters essentially based off of Indiana Jones, or a extrapolation of the character of Indiana Jones. All three of these characters are smarmy archaeologists. They have great charm, and they all have movies that are centered around finding treasures that have a huge significance to them. And in that vein, the one big comparison to be made here is that if you've seen Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, you've essentially seen Tomb Raider. Both of these films feature a supposedly supernatural artifact that is on a remote destination. There is a villain connected with the main hero's father, who is also hunting for this weapon / treasure, and both of these films feature a final temple that is guarding that treasure, which is hidden behind 3 challenges. And yeah, if you think I've basically described the plot of Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade, it's because I have, but it also applies to Tomb Raider as well. So there's a lot of comparisons to be drawn here between these 2 films, and while I don't necessarily fault the film for that. I mean, it is possible to tell the same story repeatedly and be it good. However, the fact that this is such a close approximation of Last Crusade on Tomb Raider's part, that may turn off a lot of people in that scenario. Finally, I would say, while it's not a movie comparison per se, it is a marketing comparison, and it's somewhat annoying in that regard, that both Tomb Raider and The Amazing Spider-Man 2 had their best shots spoiled for them in their trailers, and it just so happens that the best shots of these trailers are the final shots of their respective movies. In Amazing Spider-Man 2's case, I would say the best shot, the most memorable shot of the trailer for that film is...
You wanted to be the hero.
Need a hand?
And that, of course, is the best shot of the trailer, and it's, of course, the last shot of the film. In the case of Tomb Raider, I would say probably the most memorable scene from the trailer would be...
Can't be too careful these days. The world has gone bloody mad.
I'll take 2.
Great moment. Of course, it's the very last shot of the movie, so that feels sort of a cheat in a way, but hey, it's what modern movie marketing has been doing for a while now. So there you have it. So with all that being said, of course, this all boils down to, should you go see Tomb Raider if you haven't already? I would say it's definitely worth checking out, and of course, since this is a movie based off a video game, there's always the question of, does this break the video game curse? In that all movies based on video games are terrible. I would say this doesn't break the curse, but it does crack it a bit, in that there are some great moments to this film, and I like the fact that Lara Croft as a character, especially Alicia Vikander's portrayal of her, she plays it very human, and especially in the action scenes, she kicks butt. I mean, she is awesome. I would say she's almost John Wickian in a way, in that her injuries and her combat skills, when she gets injured, she doesn't like immediately recover and go on her way. Her injury and her weakness translates towards the end of the film at that point, and I feel like that's a great mark of a good movie, in that she doesn't immediately recover, and it plays a part. But then again, there are also scenes with Alicia Vikander that when she's trying to be more emotional in that regard, I feel like she has a very limited range of emotion. It may be the script's fault, I don't know, but I feel like in certain scenes, she seems a little monotone, in my opinion, especially when watching a recorded message from her presumably dead father. I felt like that's probably she showed much less emotion than I would have expected, but that's just my personal preference. Also, there's a really, as far as bad things go, there is a very weird cut near the end of the film in which the main villain is plummeting to his death. We cut between Lara Croft peering down at the cliff, watching him fall, and then we cut to him about to fall into a sea of bones at the bottom of the chasm, and then it cuts back to Laura before we see him impact, and it would have been great if it stopped right there, but then it cuts back to him impacting the bones for like, I don't know, less than a second, and then it cuts right back to Laura. and that just feels clunky to me, and I don't know, I feel like that should not have slipped past editing at that point. But overall, I would say this shows great potential in what a good video game movie can be, especially because it doesn't get bogged down in the mechanics of a video game. There's gorgeous set pieces, good characters, especially the character of Blue Ren. I feel like whatever time he spends on there is great time. And overall, I would say it's definitely worth seeing. I wouldn't blame you if you waited till it comes out on VOD or on demand. But I would say you should definitely support this film because it's making a step in the right direction at that point. At this point, the only theoretically good video game movies have been the campy video game movies, which is what Rampage is supposed to be, appears to be coming out later this year. But I would say this is it makes a case for a more serious, action-packed, fun video game movie that you can actually take seriously. So there you have it. There's my review. I hope you enjoyed it. I appreciate whatever audience I can get. Be sure to look for my review of Pacific Rim Uprising next. And just remember, there's nothing new under the sun. And yes, you have seen it before.